The SEC is once again going to be one of the most entertaining conferences in college football. And today we're going to take a look at the win totals for every single team to see how we see each team playing out. Alabama is looking to get back on track, and this is a team that has high expectations, and Vegas has high expectations as well. Win total is set at 9.5, and they're going to get off to a very interesting start because you start the year with Florida State. That game obviously was made more interesting with Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos' comments, and that's a game that Alabama is looking to send a message. After that, you get ULM and Wisconsin. Those are two games that you shouldn't have too much trouble with if you're Alabama. As long as you don't get caught looking ahead to the Georgia game after when you play Wisconsin, you should be fine. You do have 2 weeks to get ready for Georgia, so it should be okay for them. The Georgia game will be tough. The Georgia game is going to give them a lot of challenges, and it'll give us a good idea of where this team stands. Now, they did beat Georgia last year, and Ryan Williams obviously had a big part of that. Georgia very much remembers that. You then, after that, get another opportunity for a big game against Vanderbilt, which is a weird thing to say, but when you know what happened last year, you know that this is an Alabama team that is very motivated to win that game. After that, you don't really get a break, and that's part of playing in the SEC. You go to Missouri. Now, some people think Missouri could be worse than they were last year. Same thing with Tennessee. Then you go to South Carolina. If South Carolina is the real deal, they're going to be playing with a ton of confidence. After that, you get LSU and Oklahoma. Those are two teams that expect to play very good football this year. You get your bye week in the SEC with Eastern Illinois, and then you finish the year at Auburn. If you're looking for room for optimism, you have to trust what Kalen DeBoer has done. If you believe in Ty Simpson, the over is definitely going to hit here. Right now, it's really tough to find 3 losses on this schedule. So probably the safer bet right now is to go with the over. I'm going to go with the over. I do trust what Kalen DeBoer is doing. I don't know if Ty Simpson is actually going to be the real deal, but I do know that Kalen DeBoer knows how to win, and I trust that he's going to get this team back on track. Arkansas's win total sits at 5.5, and this is a big year for Sam Pittman to get back to a bowl game or even better. And this could be a potential sleeper team as well. And the schedule provides them opportunities to win games. Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State give them a chance to build some momentum before they head to Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is going through quite a transition. The quarterback position is under transition, but watching Austin Simmons and Taylor Green go back and forth should be really fun. That one will be a fun game to watch in terms of if this team's going to hit the win total of the over. You then go to Memphis. That's another team that is going through a bit of a transition, but that's a game that Arkansas should be able to win without much problem. Notre Dame then comes to Arkansas to end the month of September, and that one will be a challenging one as well. You then go to Tennessee, host Texas A&M, host Auburn, and Mississippi State. So that's a nice 4-game stretch where you get to see what this team's truly made of. I think Texas A&M is the toughest game of that stretch, but we will find out what Auburn looks like as well. Same thing with Tennessee. You finish the year at LSU, at Texas, and Missouri at home. I don't think Arkansas can beat LSU or Texas this year, but I do like their chances against Missouri. Right now, I believe that there are 6 potential wins on this schedule. I'm going to go with the over here because the under truly means that Sam Pittman probably is gone. Auburn's win total is set at 7.5, and with the offseason that this team has had, it's probably a good thing that there are higher expectations for this program. You start the year at Baylor. That will be a tough one, but also very fun to watch. If Jackson Arnold is truly on pace to be as better than what he was at Oklahoma, then you're going to feel really good about that game. After that, you get Ball State, South Alabama, and then a potential revenge game for Jackson Arnold when he returns to Norman to face Oklahoma. You then go to Texas A&M and host Georgia. That's a tough 2-game stretch there, but then again, there are a lot of tough stretches when you play in the SEC. You play Missouri and Arkansas right after that. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer, and Alabama are in November. So when you're looking at how do you get to 8 wins, you're probably not beating Georgia. You're most likely not beating Alabama, but it is a rivalry game, so that is kind of up for debate. The coin flip games, if you will, Baylor, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, maybe the Vanderbilt game on the road. Those are tougher games that really will determine if this team truly is an 8 or better win team. I think right now, I feel optimistic about this team, but when you look at the schedule, it makes it hard to find 8, 9 wins comfortably. If I was betting, I'd probably lean the under, but that's why I'd probably stay away from this one for now. I just don't know what Jackson Arnold truly is going to be, and the reports aren't super supportive of him building confidence. So I'd probably lean under, but this team has the talent to hit the over. Florida is going to have, once again, one of the most difficult stretches or difficult schedules in college football, and it doesn't take time for them to get there. You start the year with LIU to get your first win. You'll get the second win against USF at home, and then you go at LSU, at Miami, Texas, at Texas A&M. That is a brutal stretch, but again, the nice thing about this is if this Florida team manages to win some football games there, they're going to have a lot of confidence heading into the second half of the season. Mississippi State at home gets things going to finish October. You get a couple weeks off before you play Georgia at a neutral site. Then you go at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State. So if you feel confident about this team, if you truly think that DJ Lagway, one, is going to stay healthy and is the real deal, you feel confident about the over hitting for sure. You're going to get 2 right off the bat. The LSU game and Miami games will probably determine a lot about this team. Texas is a tough one. I think that Texas probably wins that game. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, those are winnable games for sure for different reasons. Georgia is a tough one, just like the Texas game. You don't have to play Alabama, which is really nice. And then those final 4 games do give you 4 opportunities to potentially win. If DJ Lagway is healthy, I think that they do hit the over. That's what I'm going to go with right now. I think they do hit the over, but again, a lot of that hinges on Lagway's health. Georgia is set at 9.5 for their win total, and this is a team that I truly believe has revenge on their mind. They do not like how things ended last year, and while they do have a ton of new faces stepping into prominent roles, this is still going to be a talented team, and they remember some of the games from last year, specifically that Alabama game. They know how that all went, and it'll be interesting to see if they're able to win that one. The first few games should give them 3 wins: Marshall, Austin Peay, and a road trip to Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee is on the same level as Georgia, but we'll find out if Joey Aguilar truly is the answer for that team. You then get Alabama at home, Kentucky at home as well, and then at Auburn and Ole Miss before you play Florida at that neutral site game. Finishing the year at Mississippi State, Texas at home, Charlotte at home, and at Georgia Tech. I'm going to go with the over here. Gunnar Stockton has a lot to prove for sure, but this is a team that has enough talent, and there are a lot of guys that this coaching staff likes that could make things a lot different and have a different ending to the 2025 season than it was in 2024. Kentucky is going to have to prove a lot. There's a lot of new faces that are stepping into their lineup, and winning football games might come at a premium. You do get Toledo right off the bat, who absolutely destroyed Mississippi State, but Kentucky's in a different place and shouldn't have a problem with that. You then get Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss should be a very talented team, still a good team, even with the transition they go through. And Kentucky did lose some pretty prominent players. I don't know if I trust Kentucky to win that one. Eastern Michigan at home is going to be another win. So you're sitting at 2-1 heading into a pretty rough stretch, honestly. At South Carolina, at Georgia, Texas at home, Tennessee at home, at Auburn, and Florida at home. Finding wins in that stretch is pretty difficult to do. I don't know if I'd confidently say that there are any in that stretch. You then get your third win when you play Tennessee Tech, and then you get Vanderbilt and Louisville on the road to finish your season. I'm going to go with the under here, unless Zach Calzada is the real deal and it bounces back in a big way. I just don't see the Wildcats winning more than 4 games. LSU is kind of that volatile team. I think a lot of people think that they could potentially win 10, 11 games, and there are people who think they go 7-5, 6-6. It's kind of all over the place. When you look at the schedule, there are definitely opportunities for them to send some messages. The first game at Clemson is obviously the big one. Finding a way to beat the Clemson Tigers isn't going to be easy. However, that's an opportunity for this offense to showcase its talent, to flex its muscle, and there are plenty of talented players. You have a speedy group of wide receivers for Garrett Nussmeier to find downfield, and playing in a tough environment right off the bat gives you an opportunity to lock in and focus right away. Louisiana Tech gives you your first win if you don't beat Clemson, and then you host Florida. that is a game that LSU could definitely win. And if DJ Lagway isn't healthy, I really like what LSU can do there. You then get Southeast Louisiana. You go to Ole Miss, host South Carolina at Vanderbilt, and Texas A&M at home to end October. Those are 4 tough games with teams that you can definitely beat. Those are 4 potential wins. It just will be tough. Going to Ole Miss and Vanderbilt are challenging road trips, but also playing South Carolina, Texas A&M at home are tough, but not as tough as if you had to face them on the road. You then finish the year at Alabama, Arkansas at home, Western Kentucky at home, and at Oklahoma. The hype right now is saying that this should be a 9-10 win team. And honestly, when I look at this schedule, there are only 2 games that I'm extremely concerned about. And I'm not saying that they can't win. The Alabama game and the Clemson game are probably the 2 biggest challenges for this LSU team. Florida would be a third one if DJ Lagway can prove that he can stay healthy. But even so, if you lose those 3 games, you're still 9-3. So I'm going to go with the over for LSU, and we'll see what happens with this team. Mississippi State is in a tough spot. Winning more than 3 games is going to be challenging. You're going to get 3 of the 4 first games as wins when you play Southern Miss, Alcorn State, and Northern Illinois. Playing Arizona State at home is going to give you a loss for sure. I don't think Mississippi State has the talent to beat the Sun Devils. After that, finding wins is not easy. Now, there are a couple of games to keep an eye on. Tennessee, if they are taking a step back, could be that a game that not many people see an upset happening, but it still feels pretty far-fetched. At Texas A&M, no. At Florida, no. Texas at home, no. At Arkansas, potentially, if they don't have a head coach at that point. Georgia at home, no. At Missouri, if they're not as good as people think. And then Ole Miss, no. So finding more than 3 wins, I'm going to say the under right now. Until further notice, this is a team that has to prove that they can be better. Missouri's win total is set at 7.5, and that feels kind of surprising. Now, they do have some opportunities early in the season to get some wins, but finding 8 wins on this schedule is challenging. You start the year with Central Arkansas. You then host Kansas. That is going to be, I think, a tougher game than people realize. You then get Louisiana at home. Most people probably think that's a 3-0 start. South Carolina at home probably would be a challenge, but I am excited to watch what that defensive line can do to contain Lenora Sellers. You then get another win when you get UMass at home. And the nice thing about this schedule is that you don't have to leave the state of Missouri until October 18th when you go to Auburn. Before that, you do get Alabama at home. A tough one for sure, but it is at home. You then go to Vanderbilt after Auburn, host Texas A&M and Mississippi State, and then you finish the year at Oklahoma and at Arkansas. I'm going to lean the under. I don't know if this offense has what it takes to get to 8 or 9 wins, and playing in the SEC is going to be a challenge. If some of these teams truly are better than we anticipate or take steps even at the top, it's going to be tough for Missouri to win some games. Now, I'm ready to be wrong about that. It'll be fun to see what Bo Pribula can do for this offense. I think there are some underrated pieces, but winning 8 games is a big-time challenge. Oklahoma's win total is set at 6.5, and we will find out pretty quick if this team can actually make a run. And when you get Illinois State at home right off the bat, it'll give you kind of a tune-up before you host Michigan. Now, beating Michigan is not out of the question. This is a team that is very much capable of beating the Wolverines. The Wolverines also might have a true freshman quarterback running the show, or they might have Mikey Keene, who's coming off of an injury. So saying that Oklahoma can't win that game is just the wrong thing to say. That is a game that'll be really fun to watch, and it'll tell us a lot about both of those teams. You then go to Temple, which is really random, but I think Oklahoma has no problem there. You then host Auburn and Kent State. This is a team that truly could get to 5-0, and you'd feel very confident about the over here. I think that this is a team that could be 4-1 at worst. I think they have the ability to be a really exciting team and be a much better team and get off to a hot start. It's not out of the question to think that they can win 4 of their first 5 or all 5. You then play the neutral site game against Texas before going to South Carolina, host Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, and LSU at home to end the year. I would lean with the over right now. I don't know if I feel confident in that. I'm kind of hesitant about John Mateer and what he can do. There's a lot of excitement about his talent, but also there are some questions about his inability to dominate Mountain West competition at times too. So that's going to be a big question, but it's going to be fun to watch Oklahoma and see what they can do this year. Ole Miss may be going through a transition, but this is a team that still expects to win. The win total is set at 8.5. And if Austin Simmons is the real deal, getting past that shouldn't be a problem. You start the year with Georgia State, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tulane. So that's going to be, I think, 4 wins. You then host LSU. That'll give us a good measuring stick of where this team stands in the SEC. If you're able to find a way to win that one, then you're going to feel confident about the second half of the season. Washington State is next. That's going to be a win for sure. You then go to Georgia and to Oklahoma before hosting South Carolina. Those are 3 tough games that could result in 3 losses for sure. So the Citadel is up next. You then host Florida and you go to Mississippi State. I think it's going to be a transition year, and I'm very excited to see what Austin Simmons can do. I'm excited to see this team. Do I think this team could make a playoff run? Absolutely. Do I also think that they could go under 8.5 wins? Yes, that's where I'm leaning right now. Yes, you start the year probably 4-0. The LSU game is going to be tough, and you'll get your 5th win with Washington State. You're going to get a win against the Citadel and Mississippi State, so that's 7 wins right there. But you have to find a way to beat Florida, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Georgia, or LSU. That's going to be tough. And I still think that 8-4 would be a solid season. It's just really tough to win 9 or 10 games in this conference. South Carolina's win total is set at 7.5, and we're going to get a good look at what this team can be early in the season. You get opportunities to win football games. Virginia Tech should be a win unless they're much better than we expect. South Carolina State is going to be a win. Vanderbilt at home should be a win. I think that that's going to be a team that is tough, but South Carolina should be the more talented team. You then go to Missouri and host Kentucky. There's a good chance that you're 5-0 if you're South Carolina, and then you just need to find 3 wins in those remaining games. A road trip to LSU will be challenging. Home games against Oklahoma and Alabama are tough, but I also like South Carolina at home. So those are games that are definitely winnable. You then go to Ole Miss and Texas A&M before hosting Coastal Carolina and a Clemson team that you gave all sorts of troubles last year. I'm going to go with the over here. I know that there's a possibility of some sort of bottoming out, but with how they could start the year, getting to 8 wins feels like it's inevitable. Tennessee's win total is sitting at 8.5 still, and this is a team that has opportunities to win football games, but I think it might be right away. I'm just going to say that I'm probably going with the under here. Joey Aguilar is a potential really good fit in this offense, but it's going to take some time. And if these wide receivers are able to step up for him, then you feel really good about what they can do. That being said, they should start 2-0. Syracuse was fun last year, but they will not be the same in 2025. East Tennessee State will not challenge Tennessee one bit. The Georgia game could reset their confidence level a little bit, but then you get UAB and Mississippi State right after that. The Arkansas game could be challenging if the Razorbacks are truly a bounce back team and they're helping Sam Pittman, but Sam Pittman also could be gone. You then go to Alabama, which is going to be tough. You then go to Kentucky, host Oklahoma, host New Mexico State, go to Florida, and host Vanderbilt. I'm going to go with the under. Like I said, this is a team that I think down the road, it has a bright future, but right now with all the changes they had, the offense needs to prove some things. Winning 9 games feels like a very daunting task. Texas win total is sitting at 9.5, and truly the one player that dictates if they have success in beating this or not is Arch Manning. And I know people are maybe getting sick of hearing the Arch Manning talk, but it's truly what's going to dictate if they're a 10 or more win team. You start the year at Ohio State. It's going to be a tough game. That's a really fun environment, but a very challenging game for Texas. Then you get San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston at home, and there's a chance that you're 4-0 going into the Florida game. Now, the Florida game kind of hinges on DJ Lagway. What is he going to look like? Because if he can't go, that Florida team looks much different. Oklahoma at a neutral site will always be tough, but after that, you go to Kentucky and Mississippi State, which will give you 2 more wins. Vanderbilt at home should be a win as long as you don't get caught looking ahead to the Georgia game 2 weeks later. You do have 2 weeks, though, so it's unlikely that they look ahead. Arkansas and Texas A&M are also winnable games. I'm really high on this team. I think that the over hits for Texas this year, and it'll be fun to watch what Arch can do. But this is a team that has more talent besides him. He's just going to get the spotlight most over any of those guys. Texas A&M's win total is set at 8.5. You're going to get off to a 2-0 start when you face UTSA and Utah State. You then go to Notre Dame. That's a tough environment that you'll have to compete in, but this is a team that is ready for that opportunity. And if Mike Elko can get his defense up to speed and play at a level they're capable of, confusing CJ Carr in that Notre Dame offense could be a possibility. So don't just write that one off as a loss. That'll be fun. Auburn at home, Mississippi State at home, and Florida at home will be fun as well. The Mississippi State game, well, I think will be a win, no problem. Auburn and Florida will be interesting. You then have 3 road games at Arkansas, at LSU, and at Missouri before hosting South Carolina. You then have Samford at home before ending the year at Texas. When I look at this schedule, I think that Marcel Reed's development will be key. I think that he is a good fit in Colin Klein's offense, but there are definitely some things that need to be sorted out before you truly feel confident about what he can do. The Notre Dame game, the Auburn game, Florida, LSU, South Carolina, and Texas are tough games. If you're able to win a handful of those, then you feel pretty good. But I think the under hits right now for this feels like an 8-4 team. I could be wrong, but there are some things that need to sort out. And if Marcel Reed doesn't take that step, this is going to be an offense that might struggle. Vanderbilt's win total is set at 5.5, and purely out of principle, just believing in this program and where it's at, I'm going to go with the over. Now, Charleston Southern won't be a problem. At Virginia Tech could be a challenging game, but that's an opportunity to go 2-0. You're also going to have a tough one in South Carolina, but then you'll get 2 more wins with Georgia State and Utah State. So you're already sitting at 4 potential wins early in the season. You go to Alabama and host LSU. Missouri is a beatable team. That's another opportunity that you feel confident in the Commodores and what they can do. At Texas, Auburn and Kentucky could be winnable games. Same thing with a road trip to Tennessee. So I'm going to go with the over with Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia, I trust that he'll win football games. He'll win enough, and this team gets to a bowl game in 2025. So it's going to be fun. This is a fun conference. I'm excited about what a lot of these teams can do, and there's a lot of key players to keep an eye on. And let me know what you think. Who's going to hit the over? Who's going to hit the under? As always, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.